In today's video, I'm explaining every single structure loot item in Minecraft, from wings that break the game's physics to items so rare most players never see them. And one item at the end requires you to risk everything just to craft something you'll probably never use. But first, we need to talk about flying, because one structure changed transportation forever and nothing has been the same since. Elytra. Metallic wings sitting in an item frame on end ships are the only way to achieve true flight in survival. Minecraft, transforming travel from a slow ground-based chore into soaring across your world at rocket speeds. You find exactly one elytra per end ship, and end ships only generate attached to some end cities in the outer end islands, meaning you need to beat the Ender Dragon, find a gateway portal, throw ender pearls across the void between islands, locate an end city that actually has a ship attached, and then deal with the shulkers guarding it before you can claim your prize. As a chestplate slot item, the elytra lets you glide when you jump from heights, and when combined with firework rockets, you can boost yourself to fly indefinitely across your world at speeds that make horses and boats look like they're standing still. You can repair them with phantom membranes on an anvil or combine them with mending enchantment to keep them functional forever as long as you're collecting XP. The item completely revolutionized transportation when it was added, creating an entire meta around elytra highways on servers and making nether roof travel less appealing. End cities generate randomly in the outer islands, and not all of them have ships attached, so you might need to search multiple cities before finding one with an elytra. But wings that let you fly anywhere are one thing. What comes next is an item that literally prevents death itself, and the structure hiding it is thousands of blocks away in the darkest forest you've ever seen. Totem of Undying. A golden idol covered in emerald eyes becomes your get-out-of-jail-free card, instantly saving you from death by restoring health and giving you regeneration and absorption to recover from whatever just killed you. Totems drop from evokers, the hostile illager mobs that only spawn in woodland mansions and during raids. Woodland mansions are massive dark oak structures that generate thousands of blocks from spawn in dark forest biomes, filled with vindicators and evokers that will absolutely destroy unprepared players. Each mansion has a limited number of evokers depending on the room configuration, giving you a small handful of totems unless you're setting up a raid farm for unlimited evoker spawns. The totem works by sitting in your hand or offhand slot, automatically consuming itself when you take lethal damage to bring you back with regeneration and absorption. It only works once and then it's gone forever. Raids offer a more renewable source since you can trigger them infinitely near villages, with evokers appearing in later waves to drop more totems. Cheating death sounds powerful until you realize the next item exists purely as a flex. No function, no purpose, just the ultimate trophy that spawns exactly once. But here's the thing, if this egg is so rare and valuable, why does the next item from the same dimension get completely ignored by most players? Dragon Egg. Purple and black spotted perfection sits atop the bedrock exit portal after you defeat the Ender Dragon for the first time, serving zero functional purpose beyond decoration and bragging rights. Yet it remains one of the rarest blocks in the game because you can only get one per world. Collecting the egg requires understanding its teleportation mechanic, because if you try to break it normally or place a block on it, the egg teleports to a random location nearby, forcing you to either use a piston to push it or place a torch underneath and make it fall onto the torch and pop off. Respawning the dragon doesn't give you another egg, so your first kill is your only chance to get this block legitimately. Some players build elaborate trophy rooms around their dragon egg, others hide it in an ender chest for safekeeping, and a few absolute mad lads use it as a decorative block in their bases, despite it being literally irreplaceable. The answer isn't what you think. Dragon Head. Wearing the Ender Dragon's actual skull as a helmet gives you absolutely zero armor protection, but maximum style points and a flapping jaw animation when you move. Dragon heads generate exclusively on end ships, sitting on the front of the ship like a decorative figurehead. Each end ship has exactly one dragon head, meaning you get both an elytra and a dragon head from the same structure if you're thorough about looting everything. The head can be placed as a decoration or worn in your helmet slot, and when worn it moves its jaw up and down as you walk. You can also power dragon heads with redstone to make the jaw flap, creating possibilities for decorative builds. The head offers no armor value, so it's purely cosmetic, but it's one of only a few mob head blocks in the game. Cosmetics are cool, but useless in survival. What matters is the next item, because it fundamentally changes inventory management in a way that makes every other storage solution look primitive. Shulker Shell. Purple shell fragments drop from shulkers, the box-like mobs that disguise themselves as purple blocks in end cities, and they're essential for crafting shulker boxes, which are basically portable chests that keep their inventory when broken. Shulkers have a chance to drop shells when killed, and you need 2 shells to craft 1 shulker box. End cities are packed with shulkers attached to the walls and ceilings. The shells themselves are useless without crafting them into shulker boxes using 1 chest and 2 shells, but shulker boxes are genuinely game-changing because they let you carry an additional inventory worth of items items that stay inside the box when you break it. You can dye shulker boxes into different colors using any dye, creating an organizational system where different colored boxes hold different types of items. One shulker box in your inventory effectively multiplies your carrying capacity, completely changing how much you can bring on mining trips or building projects. Portable storage solved one problem, but deep underground, in a place where sound itself can kill you, there's an item so specific that you need 8 of them just to craft one compass. The question is, why would anyone risk the warden just for navigation? Echo Shard. Dark cyan fragments covered in skulk patterns hide exclusively in ancient city chests, the massive underground structures in the deep, dark biome. Echo shards serve one purpose: crafting the recovery compass, which requires 8 shards total, meaning you need to loot multiple ancient city chests to make even one compass. Ancient cities generate in the deep, dark biome far below ground, filled with skulk sensors and shriekers that can summon the warden if you make too much noise. The cities have multiple chests scattered throughout, but echo shards only appear in regular ancient city chests. You'll need to loot several chests across potentially multiple cities to gather 8 shards. The shards have an eerie glow effect that matches the skulk aesthetic perfectly. Ancient cities also contain other valuable loot like swift sneak enchanted books and disc fragments, making them worth the risk despite the warden being the most dangerous mob in the game. Because what you can build with those shards does something no other item in Minecraft can do, and it's saved more hardcore runs than any totem ever will. Recovery Compass. A specialized compass points toward your last death location instead of your spawn point, letting you navigate back to where you died to recover your items before they despawn. You craft it using 8 echo shards arranged around a regular compass, making it one of the most expensive single-use tools in the game. The compass only works in the dimension where you die, spinning randomly if you take it to a different dimension. When you die, the compass immediately locks onto that death point and guides you back, which is incredibly useful in cave systems or the nether where you might lose track of where you were. The compass becomes useless after you reach your death point and pick up your items, just spinning randomly until you die again. Some players keep a recovery compass in their ender chest so they always have access to it after respawning, while others argue it's not worth the echo shard investment. Navigation is temporary. The next enchantment is permanent, and it only exists in one place in the entire game. No villagers sell it. No enchanting table can roll it. Just ancient city chests. And the irony is perfect, because you need this enchantment to safely loot the very structure it spawns in. Swift Sneak. An enchanted book containing the game's only chest-exclusive enchantment waits in ancient city loot, never appearing on enchanting tables or villager trades. Swift Sneak increases your movement speed while sneaking, progressively making you faster until the highest level lets you move almost as fast while crouched as you do while walking normally. The enchantment only works on leggings, creating a choice between defensive enchantments and mobility. Swift Sneak completely changes how you approach stealth situations because normally sneaking is painfully slow, but with max level Swift Sneak you move much faster while staying completely silent. The enchantment is essential for navigating ancient cities themselves since you need to sneak past skulk sensors to avoid triggering shriekers, creating this weird situation where the thing you need to safely loot ancient cities is found inside ancient cities. That's movement solved. But movement means nothing when you're one hit from death. Join our Discord server to share your best ancient city looting strategies and connect with other players who've mastered sneaking past the warden. Which brings us to the most overpowered consumable in the game. An item so strong, Mojang literally removed the crafting recipe just to make it rare. But rarity creates hoarding, and hoarding creates a problem most players never solve. Enchanted Golden Apple. Glowing golden apples wrapped in a purple shimmer used to be craftable with gold blocks, but now only spawn in structure chests, making them one of the rarest consumable items in the game. Eating one gives you insane regeneration, absorption, resistance, and fire resistance, basically making you temporarily invincible for PvP or boss fights. You can find enchanted golden apples in dungeon chests, mineshaft chests, desert temple chests, woodland mansion chests, and bastion remnant chests, with bastion treasure rooms having the best odds. The apples are so rare that most players hoard them in their ender chests and never actually eat them, because what if you need them later for something more important, creating that classic consumable item problem where you finish the game with dozens of unused apples. Mojang removed the crafting recipe to make them properly rare and force players to explore structures instead of just mining gold. The sheer power of the apple's effects makes it the best emergency healing item in the game. Temporary invincibility is great. Permanent underwater breathing is better. And unlike those golden apples you're never going to eat, the next item has a guaranteed spawn location that every single buried treasure chest contains. Heart of the Sea. A glowing blue orb serves as the core component for crafting conduits, the underwater structures that give you water breathing, night vision, and haste while swimming. You get Hearts of the Sea exclusively from buried treasure chests, those single chests hidden under beaches that you locate using treasure maps found in shipwrecks. Every buried treasure chest contains exactly one Heart of the Sea guarantee. You need to find a shipwreck first, loot the map chest to get a treasure map, then follow the X marks the spot to dig up the buried treasure. The heart itself is useless until you craft it into a conduit using nautilus shells, and conduits require a specific frame of prismarine or sea lantern blocks to activate properly. Once you build a conduit and activate it with the right frame, it creates a spherical area where you can breathe underwater, see clearly, and mine faster, completely changing underwater building and ocean monument raiding. Conduits change underwater building forever, but before you can build anything underwater, you need to clear the water itself, and there's only one block in the entire game that does this on a massive scale. Sponge. Yellow blocks that absorb water in a massive area only generate naturally in ocean monuments, the underwater temples guarded by guardians and elder guardians. Ocean monuments contain sponge rooms that might not even generate, but if they do, you get a large batch of wet sponges. Elder guardians also drop wet sponges when killed, with each monument having 3 elder guardians that guarantee drops. Sponges work by absorbing all water source blocks in a large radius when placed, creating air pockets underwater or cleaning up flooded builds instantly. After a sponge absorbs water, it becomes wet and needs to be dried in a furnace before you can use it again. The lack of a crafting recipe means ocean monuments are the only source since elder guardians don't respawn naturally. Players use sponges primarily for draining ocean monuments, clearing out underwater bases, or creating air pockets for building projects. Old items solved old problems. What comes next is brand new, and it's locked behind the hardest structure challenges in the game. Trial Chambers introduced a combat loop unlike anything Minecraft had before, and the reward is a weapon that deals damage based on how far you fall. Heavy Core. A dense copper block covered in orange glow forms the core component for crafting the mace, the newest weapon added in the Tricky Trials update. Heavy cores only drop from ominous vaults in trial chambers, the special vault variant that requires an ominous trial key instead of a regular trial key to open. Trial chambers are massive underground copper structures filled with trial spawners that spawn waves of mobs, and completing these spawners rewards you with keys that open vaults with better loot. The heavy core is significantly rarer than most trial chamber loot, so you might need to complete multiple chambers before getting the drop. You only need one heavy core to craft a mace, and the mace itself is a unique weapon that deals damage based on fall distance when you hit enemies, letting you launch yourself into the air and then slam down for massive damage. The core is rare. The keys to get it are not, but they work completely differently than every other structure loot system. Instead of RNG chest rolls, you earn these through combat. Trial Key. Copper keys with a glowing interior that drop from trial spawners when you complete their mob challenges. And trial keys open trial vaults, which are the chest-like blocks scattered throughout trial chambers. Trial spawners detect nearby players and spawn waves of mobs, rewarding you with loot including trial key fragments when you defeat all the mobs. Each player can only get rewards from each trial spawner once, preventing farming. The keys only work on trial vaults, those copper containers that can only be opened once per player. The entire trial chamber system creates a dungeon crawler experience where you fight through multiple combat encounters to earn keys and unlock loot completely different from traditional chest-based structures. Better loot, higher stakes, and a consumable item that gives you the one effect most players actively avoid. Except now you can control it, bottle it, and weaponize it for farming raids whenever you want. Ominous Bottle. Dark bottles filled with swirling particles give you the bad omen effect when consumed, the same effect you get from killing raid captains, but now available as a consumable item. Ominous bottles only drop from ominous vaults in trial chambers, creating a renewable way to trigger raids without hunting down patrol captains. The bottles come in 5 levels, matching the 5 levels of bad omen, with higher levels triggering more difficult raids. Drinking an ominous bottle gives you bad omen for a long duration, plenty of time to walk to a village and trigger a raid for totem farming. Players primarily use ominous bottles to farm raids efficiently without needing to locate patrol captains between each raid, creating a stockpile approach where you collect bottles from trial chambers and then binge run raids. Raids give totems. Totems prevent death. But death to what? Because the next items aren't about survival anymore. Consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos and exclusive behind-the-scenes content about how these scripts are made. They're about progression gates that force you into specific structures, whether you like it or not. Before recent updates, upgrading to netherite was simple. Now you need a template, and that template only spawns in one bastion variant with absolute certainty. Netherite Upgrade Template. Smithing templates became mandatory for upgrading diamond gear into netherite gear, changing the upgrade system from simple crafting combinations to requiring both the template and a smithing table. Netherite upgrade templates generate in Bastion Remnant treasure room chests, with a guaranteed spawn, meaning every treasure room gives you at least one template. Bastion Remnants have 4 different variants, including the treasure variant, which has a central room with a magma cube spawner and a chest sitting on top of a gold block bridge. That treasure chest always contains a netherite upgrade template plus other valuable loot. The template itself is consumed when you upgrade gear unless you duplicate it first by combining it with diamonds and netherrack on a smithing table, creating copies you can use for future upgrades. The template requirement added an exploration gate to prevent players from rushing netherite gear without visiting bastions, because templates created a collection system and collections drive exploration. Multiple different armor patterns exist, scattered across every major structure type, each one purely cosmetic but somehow essential for completionists. Armor trims. Smithing templates unlock decorative patterns for your armor using different materials for color customization, adding cosmetic depth without affecting armor stats. Different trim patterns exist in the game, each found exclusively in specific structure types, from the Wayfinder trim in strongholds to the Vex trim in woodland mansions. Ancient cities contain the Ward and Silence trims, bastions have the Snout trim, desert temples have the Dune trim, end cities have the Spire trim, jungle temples have the Wild trim, ocean monuments have the Tide trim, pillager outposts have the Sentry trim, strongholds have the Eye trim, nether fortresses have the Rib trim, shipwrecks have the Coast trim, trail ruins have multiple trims including the Wayfinder and Shaper, and woodland mansions have the Vex trim. You apply trims to armor using a smithing table by combining the armor piece, the trim template, and a material like diamond or emerald, which determines the pattern's color. The template is consumed when applying a trim unless you duplicate it first. Armor trims are purely cosmetic with zero gameplay impact, making them optional for players focused on efficiency but essential for builders and collectors who want unique looking gear. Several music discs hide in structures, each one playing tracks you can't hear anywhere else in the game. Pig Step from Bastions, 5 from Ancient Cities, Other Side from Dungeons. But music is passive content. The final collectible item requires active archaeology. Music discs. Vinyl record items play different songs when inserted into jukeboxes, with multiple unique discs scattered across various structures and mob drops. Structure-related music discs include Pig Step from Bastion Remnants, Other Side from Stronghold and Dungeon chests, Relic from Trail Ruin Suspicious Gravel, 5 from Ancient City chests, and Precipice from Trial Chamber vaults. Pig Step is exclusive to Bastion Remnant chests, making it one of the rarer discs despite Bastions being common structures. The disc has an intense nether-themed beat that sounds completely different from other music discs. 5 is exclusive to Ancient Cities, playing an ominous track that matches the Deep Dark's horror atmosphere perfectly. Other Side appears in both Dungeons and Stronghold chests with low spawn rates, featuring an upbeat melody. Relic comes from Brushing Suspicious Gravel in Trail Ruins, part of the Archaeology system. Precipice is found in Trial Chamber vaults, playing a dramatic orchestral piece fitting for the combat-focused structure. Most music discs come from creeper kills by skeleton arrows rather than structures, but these structure-exclusive discs create collecting goals that force you to explore specific dangerous areas. And Brushing Suspicious Blocks is the slowest loot mechanic Mojang ever added. Pottery shards. Decorated pottery fragments emerge from brushing suspicious sand or suspicious gravel in various structures, part of the archaeology system that lets you carefully excavate blocks for loot. Multiple different shard patterns exist, each found in specific structure types, from the angler shard in warm ocean ruins to the danger shard in trail ruins. Desert temples contain suspicious sand with exclusive shards, including the archer, arms up, and prize shards. Desert wells have the brewer shard. Ocean ruins have cold and warm variants with different shards. Trail ruins contain the most shards with multiple different patterns. You collect shards by using a brush on suspicious sand or gravel blocks, slowly revealing the item underneath through an excavation process that takes several seconds. Breaking suspicious blocks with any other tool destroys them without dropping their contents. Shards can be combined with bricks to craft decorated pots, containers that function like single-slot storage but display your chosen shard patterns on all 4 sides. The pots break easily and drop their contents when destroyed, making them more decorative than practical for storage. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more on Minecraft, click the subscribe button.